Hello, everyone, and welcome to SDP Connect. My name is Christiana Morales. I am the Director of Self-Determination Program here at DVU. We're going to talk all about the conference today. I'm actually really excited to share all the things that we've been working on, and looking forward to seeing everybody there. But before we do, I wanted to do a quick announcement to talk about something that DDS has released. I'm going to share my screen really quickly here and show you, and we'll put the link in the chat. But DDS has released a direct service professional training stipend program. And this is for any of your employees that are working with you. They can earn up to 2 payments of $625 if they do these trainings. And I've heard from other people that they're really great trainings and that they're really worthwhile. And it's a great, some Christmas holiday money, right? A little extra cash for everybody. So it's a wonderful opportunity. So the information is here, and we're putting it down in the chat. So if you have any questions or anything, that you can go to this, and they're all provided through ArcaLearn. So all the info is in there. That was our big major share for the day. So, oh, Bridget, you have your hand up. Did you have a question about the training stipend? Oops, I'm not sure they're there. Maybe the hand was by mistake. So let's start talking about our conference. And we're going to start with Judy Mark, our fearless leader, is going to talk to us about our sponsors.
Did we put that directive in the chat, by the way, Christiana, before we get started? Because people are asking for it by email, which we can certainly get it out there. But great. Thank you, Christina, for doing that. All right. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to see you all, and really excited that we are going to be having, I think this is about the 7th self-determination conference that I have been involved in. Even before DVU existed, we were holding self-determination conferences. So I'm really excited to see you all. What I'm going to do is, do you want me to share my screen with the schedule, or did you want to do that, Christiana? I'm not highlighted or pinned. Okay, there we go.
We'll share the screen right now.
We're seeing you and hearing my voice.
Give me 1 second. I'm getting to the agenda.
Okay.
You want to see the agenda?
Yes. So we have an incredible agenda for you. And you can find it all on DVU's website. So if you just go to disabilityvoicesunited.org, and in there you are able to, you'll see on the main page, it has, right as you scroll down, here you go. You can see information about our conference, which is in 8 days and 7 hours, 54 minutes and 55 seconds. And you can just click on Learn More. And this has it has a version in Spanish. And you can learn about the entire conference. And you can click on that conference agenda to be able to see what it is that Christiana is sharing right now. All right, so the event is all virtual, it's all online, and you're going to have an opportunity 4 times during the day. Oh wait, am I supposed to be thanking our sponsors first and then go through this? Oh crap, I'm sorry, I'm screwing everything up.
We're going with it, we're fine.
Okay, don't stop sharing. I'm not abiding by the rules here. Okay, hey everybody, this is my first job. My first job is to thank our wonderful sponsors. We have a whole bunch of sponsors. Do we have their logos so that we can show them? Excellent. I apologize, everybody. And I'm distracted because Robert Levy is wishing me happy birthday, because tomorrow is my birthday. Thank you very much, Robert. I appreciate that. I'm going to be much older tomorrow than I am today. Okay, So we have great sponsors, and we just want to give a shout out to them and thank them. At the and the different levels are based on the principles of self-determination. So at the responsibility level, we want to thank Aviana Healthcare, which is an FMS, Easter Seal Southern California, which is a service provider that provides lots of different kinds of supports, including employment through the self-determination program, Mainsail, which is also an FMS, as well as Ritz FMS. So if any of you all are here from those organizations, a big giant thank you to you. At the next level is, which we're calling confirmation, we have a logo on the left that I have no idea what that organization is.
That is Claudia Cares.
Okay. Claudia should think about putting the words in her logo because I wasn't sure. Claudia Cares is an independent facilitator agency, as well as they provide coaching at some of the regional centers. Exceptional Connections, which is another independent facilitator. Frank Lanterman Regional Center. Thank you to Melinda Sullivan, who's the executive director at Lanterman Regional Center, who has been a sponsor of every single one of our conferences, and we appreciate you. GT Independence, which is an FMS agency. Guidelight Group, which is also an independent facilitator agency. Hussman Associates, Samantha Hussman, thank you so much for your wonderful and kind support. Korean SDP Network. We love Korean SDP Network. This is a group of family members and self-advocates who organize within the Korean-speaking community and train each other and advocate for each other to move into the self-determination program. And then finally, Tierra del Sol Foundation. Tierra del Sol is a service provider agency located in Los Angeles County, and they provide a whole range of services, community-based services, including person-centered planning services. And I can tell you, my son got a person-centered plan done by them probably 9 years ago, before the self-determination program existed. So they've been doing this for a really long time. Do you want me to also talk? No, you're talking about the exhibitors later. So
and breaking news, SCDD also came in as a confirmation, but they just came in, so we haven't had a chance to update our webpage.
Right. So thank you to the State Council on Developmental Disabilities, which has a process, and that process came through just yesterday, and we thank them for sponsoring the conference.
So we have a couple quick announcements. The first one is that we initially had a deadline if you were going to purchase a ticket for the conference through your FMS or through your spending plan if you're in self-determination program. We no longer have the deadline. We wanted to make sure that everybody had the ability to get their ticket all the way, so you can still continue to purchase tickets through your financial management service and your spending plan. And then the other announcement, I want to make sure that if you are from RCOC, Regional Center of Orange County, CVRC, which is Central Valley Regional Center, or VMRC, which is, oh my gosh,
Valley Mountain.
Thank you, Valley Mountain. Too many acronyms. Valley Mountain Regional Center. Their SDP local advisory committees have offered a grant to pay for everybody's entrance fees to register. So you do not have to pay for anything. You don't have to worry about going through asking your regional center for funding. You don't have to do it through your spending plan. You just have to go in and register as if you're going to get an FMS ticket, and it's all taken care of. So they're the easiest peasiest. So anybody from either one of those three, RCOC, CVRC, or VMRC, you're good to go. You just have to go sign in. So what I'm going to have next is we're going to have Monica walk everybody through the registration process, because we know it can be a little confusing since we have a lot of different ways to pay. So Monica, I'm handing it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and start kind of in the same place that Judy started when she was looking at the agenda. So here I am at the DVU website, so disabilityvoicesunited.org. From our homepage, we can go ahead and scroll down. And again, this is where we can learn more about registration. And although we have left registration open until the conference starts, do us a favor and register as early as possible. There's so much work on the back end right now, so we would appreciate every bit of help that would give us by you registering as early as possible. So back to registration. I'm going to go ahead and click Learn More because I'm going to do an English registration. If I wanted to do a Spanish registration, I would click en Español. From Learn More, again, I have an option for a Spanish registration. I'm going to scroll down to Register Now. So I'm going to talk about two registration types. We have 4 options here, but I'm going to talk about the Regional Center funded ticket type and the SDP Participant funded ticket type because they have a few more steps. Let me just get my Zoom stuff out of the way. So the first thing I'm going to walk you through is the Regional Center funded ticket type. So I see Regional Center funded ticket type. I'm going to select one. You can only register one at a time. And that's because your email address is your unique registration ID, which is how you get into the conference. So you can't log into the conference on multiple devices with one email address, something to consider. All right, again. So now that I've selected one ticket, I'm going to scroll down and click Next. Here's where you put your attendee information. So I'll go ahead and put my information, Monica Rainiak, my email, monica@dvunited.org. Oops. Again, confirming the email because it is the most important, one of the most important pieces of information in order for you to attend the conference. All right, so I've got my name, my email, my cell phone number. Which of the following describes me? I'm the family member of a person served by a regional center. I'll choose Eastern Los Angeles Regional Center. And I'm going to enter my family member's UCI number. What is the first, last, and last name of my family member? My family member with the regional center is Mick Rainiak. What is my service coordinator's email address? niceperson@blah-blah-blah.com. And their phone number is here. So the reason that DVU needs this specific information is for billing purposes. So by you putting your accurate UCI number, accurate regional center information, this helps us to bill on the back end. So we're going to read the fine print. We understand we need to take some next steps, which is to reach out to our service coordinator and obtain funding. And I'm going to click Next. And it's showing me that I made a mistake. Where is that mistake? If anyone sees it, reach out.
You didn't put the name of, you said you're a family member. You had to put
Correct.
the name of the person.
Oh,
Go scroll
okay.
up a little bit.
You're right. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. So it also doesn't let us get away with errors. So I need a check sometimes. Thank you. So now I'll click Next. So payment information. Why do I need payment information if my regional center is paying for this? Well, you don't. So instead of choosing the default credit or debit card, hit the down arrow and choose invoice. And that allows us to connect and bill on the back end. So as far as information for your invoice goes, just put your personal information. We're not going to send you a personal invoice. So we'll bill to, I'll put my information, Monica Rainiak. My address is on Rosecrans in Manhattan Beach, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to go ahead and click Submit. The registration will be incomplete until payment is confirmed by the organizers. So basically, we're letting you register for the conference, but we know you've got some work on the back end. So reach out to that service coordinator, have them send me a POS or an email. I've received so many emails from service coordinators saying, yes, we will fund this conference. It's okay if it's not paid before November 3rd, as long as we know that it's in the works and we will be paid, then you will be fine. So that is the regional center funded registration. Would you like me to walk through the registration for an FMS, which is essentially very similar, but it's just an FMS specific information? Your call, Christiana.
That would be great, but we had a question that I
Okay,
thought
thank
was
you.
a great one, is how do we get Regional Center to fund this ticket?
Okay, great question. So you reach out to your service coordinator and you let them know that you have registered for the conference. You can use your email confirmation that you receive as proof that you've registered and ask them if they can create a purchase of service, a POS, and send that to DVU. You can include me, Monica, at dvunited.org on your email. I'm not going to do the work for you, but I'll be there in case they have any specific questions or they need additional information. So feel free to loop me into the conversations and I will follow along. Were there any other questions?
That was the only
At this
one.
point? Okay, thank you. All
But
right, so yes.
I did want them to know that if you scroll down to the bottom of this page, the one that you're on, keep going down. At the very bottom, if you're not certain, like you don't remember the steps Monica walked you through, if you go right here to helpful instructions, it will walk you step by step, screen by screen, to walk you through the process. So as you're registering, if you want to keep that open, that'll help you go through every single step of the process, so you'll know what to do.
Good point.
There was one other question. They were, and maybe are you going to go through the process of FMS next? Because I think it was more related to that.
Yes,
right?
I am.
Okay, good. All right.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and hop to it. So I've scrolled all the way down and I still have an option for register now. So I'll click register now. And this time my ticket choice is going to be SDP participant FMS funded ticket. I'll select the quantity 1, scroll down to the bottom and click next. Again, we need to put personal information here. Who is our registrant? Monica Rainiak. My email is Monica at dvunited.org. Feel free to mark that down, folks. Monica at dvunited.org. And so now it's asking FMS funded ticket information. So Monica, cell phone number. All right, again, so what is your relationship to the self-determination program? So I'll say that I am the parent of a family member in the SDP program. What is the full name of the family member in the SDP program? Mick Rainiak. It's the same example I used for the family member in the regional center funded program. So instead of choosing a regional center here, we're going to choose our FMS. So I'll say that I'm with Acumen as my FMS. Again, which regional center do I belong to? I'll choose ELARC, Eastern Los Angeles Regional Center. What is the UCI of your family member? So for Mick Rainiak, I put the UCI there. And the question, is this cost for the conference in your spending plan? I'm going to put yes, which means that I've already spoken with my regional center service coordinator, and it's both, I've spoken with them and they have put that into the spending plan. So no surprises here for my FMS. Click yes to the fine print, and we're going to go on to the next page. Again, payment information. You do not need to enter a credit card here because you'll be paying for it out of pocket. So we will go ahead and say we're going to choose the invoice. This invoice is not going to go directly to your FMS, so feel free to put your personal information there. I'll put Monica Park or Monica Rainiak. That was my maiden name from like 30 years ago. That was a blast from the past. And so my billing information is there. And again, I'll just click submit. So it's registration is not complete until the payment is confirmed by the organizers. So what that means is we really want you to take the initial steps with your FMS or your regional center. Find out what that FMS needs from DVU. So in the instance of Mainsail, I've been giving everybody invoices who's with Mainsail. There are other FMSs that have chosen to pay by credit card. So we're doing that route. So each one seems to have a unique way to pay. So I'm going to leave it to you to find out how DVU can get paid. We're letting you register for the event. You just do the work on the back end and reach out to me directly. And I will complete paperwork for your regional center. I'll give you an invoice. I'll basically do a handstand if that's what it takes to get paid. So you let me know what you need and I'm happy to help. Any questions?
Monica, there was a question from Virginia Hom at 449, and she asked, what is the RC service code for this?
Oh, good question. So oftentimes regional centers will want to know our vendor number and our service code. So the service code for the regional center is 102. And while you're taking
center funded, be very
funded,
clear.
yes.
For regional center funded.
Regional center funded only, yes. If you're taking notes of codes, you might want to note that our DVU vendor number is P as in Paul, H as in Harry, 2437. PH 2437. If I'm copied on communications with regional centers and that information is missing, I send that to them also. And so just note that the regional center service code is different than your FMS service code, which you use for your funding on the back end. And that's something that I'll ask you. I don't have your service code. So I've reached out to lots of folks and said, what's your service code? I need it for the invoice. And 371, 334, whatever it is. Thank you. Good question. I appreciate that one. Any others?
Yeah, can I just talk about the service code? Because I have a feeling the that question was about FMS funded.
Oh, okay.
Because when you're in the traditional system, you never have to learn about service codes. You never know what codes anybody's using. It doesn't really matter. Somehow in the self-determination program, they're forcing us to learn all the service codes when it shouldn't be our responsibility either. If you've ever come to one of our SDP Connects in the past, you will have heard me say that exact thing. That is not our job. It is the regional center's job to decide what the appropriate service codes are in our spending plans, because that is their ability to be able to get federal matching funds for all of our what we've spent in our spending plans. Not our job, okay? But there is a service that if you feel like you want to do the job of the regional center, there is a service code that specifically talks about individual training. That is actually specifically for the training for the self-advocate. It's not really parent training, but it seems like that's the code that people are using, but it is really not your job, okay? But the most important thing about your spending plan is that if you have if you have created a spending plan that takes up all of your funding in your budget, let's say your budget is $1,000 and you have a spending plan that includes all $1,000, you can't just tell your FMS to pay for it. You've got to be able to take the $85 for the registration fee from another service code and transfer it in. It's really important that you do that. And so it just means you need to find where is it that you're not spending all of your funding in a different category and not category is not the right word, in a different service and push it into a training category. Okay, so you've got to make sure that you do that because you cannot overspend your budget.
Monica, you had
yes.
another question from Ann Chen at 4:50. When will we receive the Zoom link for the conference of the conference before 11:03?
Right, I see that. And Christiana, or wait, I thought I saw an answer to that. I'm gonna back up a little bit. And Kira, it looks like Kira answered it, Anne or Annie, sorry. You'll be able to log into the Whova virtual platform conference using the email you purchased your ticket with. And Kira did put a link there. So you can log in now if you're registered. If you see, you can click the link that Kira has there. If you have difficulty, email me or Kira directly, email me, and we'll work it out. I also saw that there may be another question from someone who might need some specific assistance from me, and I'm happy to just email me directly, and we will work it out. Thank you.
And there's a question that says, will the regional center, oh, sorry, I'm going to mispronounce your name, I'm afraid. Vidya, at 4:55, will the regional center fund for the conference for sure? Is there a chance that they say they cannot fund it?
I'm happy to try to answer that.
Okay.
So I'm assuming you mean for people who are not yet in the self-determination program. And so there is always a chance, but all 21 regional centers do fund both parent and self-advocate training. Some of them have different policies. Sometimes it's like one conference a year. Others might say no more than $200 a year in conference fees. Some have $300. Some have it $200 for both the father and the mother, and then an additional $200 for the self-advocate if they're an adult and want to go to a conference. Each regional center has their own policies, but all 21 do fund it. And so you just want to, it shouldn't be a problem. I've been copied on many, many emails of people who are requesting funding, and I just see the service coordinator replying very quickly, yes, thank you. You know, we can make this happen. And that's all we need, is to see that email to say it's going to happen. We don't need any spectacular promise. We just need to see that email, and then Monica knows she can follow up with your service coordinator, even if it's after the conference.
Thank you, Judy.
I do have a question that I got the other day, and I don't know if this is a Kira question or a Monica question. When somebody's confirmed, when the regional center has confirmed that they will fund it, or the FMS has confirmed that it's in the spending plan, how does the person know that they've been confirmed? And then are they going to receive an email about it so they can start to go into the Whova platform?
I think I can answer that. I'll start by saying that with over 400 registrants, it is hard to follow up with each person. Sometimes service coordinators are processing POS and they don't tell us, but it's in the system. Sometimes FMSs are sending us checks, they're actually in the mail, or we just haven't received them yet. So it's hard to be really accurate with responses. There have been instances where I received the POS directly. I'm usually copied with an individual who's in the traditional system. So I'll say, thank you, you're good to go, meaning you're ready to attend. In instances where individuals are funded by their LVAC, their advisory committees, I have sent out confirmations saying you don't have any more steps to take. You can attend the conference. You don't need to reach out to anyone. So at this point, if you have not heard from us, go ahead and assume that you can attend, but be mindful of our follow-ups, because I might say, hey, have you reached out to your service coordinator yet? Or something like that. So I guess I can't say that everyone is getting an email because of the timing.
Right. So, but my question is, let's
Yeah.
say they have gotten the confirmation, or you have gotten the confirmation. How do they then know that they can go in and download the Hula platform and get started?
Well, they can
I'll
download
jump in here.
the platform already. Please do. Yeah. And Kira's also raising their hand.
So they will get an email saying that they can download it and how to download it, but we're also going to walk through it a little bit later. So we're going to give the link. So if you're not sure or you didn't get the email, we're going to show you, if you're already registered, where to go, how to log in, and all of that. And then if you have a problem, then who to reach out to. So we'll make sure that everybody who is registered knows how to get in.
Thank you. So at this point, all the registrants have received something saying, please log in.
All the paid registrants, all the confirmed registrants, I should say. Okay, great.
So I don't think we have any more. Stephanie, did you have a question about the registration?
Yes, I did.
Oh, go ahead.
I was seeing if Monica got mine because some of the codes got messed up.
You know
And
what,
so I never
Stephanie?
got anything.
If you're registered, I will look into your specific registration and see if there's any problems. I will send you the information about how to log in, but I do suggest watching as Kira and Christiana walk through that process, because if you are registered, you can do it side by side. If you can open another tab or just kind of follow along and write down the steps. Again, I will put my email in case, you need it, and you can follow up with me directly, but I will look into your specific registration. And if anyone has specific questions, just reach out to me directly.
Okay.
Thank you, Stephanie.
So next we have Judy is going to share some highlights about some of the panels. So Monica, if you can stop sharing, I'll start, and then I can, let's see. There we go. Take it over, Judy. Oh,
This is what I started to talk about before and I didn't. So I apologize that I got ahead. So there's going to be 4 different 30-minute periods over the course of the day. Don't go down yet. If you could go up a little higher. Where we're going to be having an expo, where exhibitors and our sponsors will have virtual booths. Basically, it's a Zoom room that you can click into from the Hula platform, and you can meet with a range of FMSs, financial independent facilitators, or others who have their virtual booths available. The first of those 4 periods starts at 8:30 to 9 in the morning. And then at 9 o'clock, we go into the first session. And the first session will be mostly just greetings and welcomes. It's only for about 25 minutes, but you'll hear from Christiana and myself. It's just sort of quick hellos. And then the director of the Department of Developmental Services, Nancy Bargman, will also be speaking. The DDS, as you know, is responsible for implementing the self-determination program. So I'm sure folks will have a lot of questions for her. But you should know that DDS sits on a whole variety of panels over the course of the day. So you will have plenty of time to ask them questions. Is there a way to make this a bit bigger, Christiana? because it's coming up very small on my screen. I'm seeing lots of other things on your screen besides just this, so I'm not sure. Okay, well, okay, great, perfect. All right, that works for me. All right, then we're going to move into a really wonderful opening panel that's called the SDP Principles. Is the program living up to them? So if all of you have gone through the orientation, you should know that there are 5 principles of self-determination that were written into the self-determination law, which was signed 10 years ago this month. And I was part of the group of parents and self-advocates who got the self-determination law passed. The reason we put the principles in the self-determination law is so that regional centers, DDS, service providers, family members will be held accountable for ensuring that the SDP participants are living a life of self-determination through those principles. And so we are having a great panel. One of our panelists is here today, Tina Ewing Wilson. We love you, Tina. And we're having other panelists who will each be taking a different principle and speaking about whether the ways in which the self-determination program are meeting the principle of, let's say, freedom, responsibility, confirmation, support, and I did it in the wrong order. What's the 5th one I'm missing? Sorry, I'm missing one because I put them out of order. I'll read them in the correct order. Freedom, authority, that's the one I missed. Support, responsibility, and confirmation. We've added a 6th principle for this panel, and that is the principle of equity. Because what we know is that Latinos and African Americans are not entering the self-determination program at the same rate as whites and Asians. And so we want to make sure, particularly Latinos are very underreported or under enrolled in the program. If you could scroll down to the next section. So after this panel, we're going to take a 30-minute break where you will be able to visit with the exhibitors and sponsors again. And then we're going to move into breakout sessions. We have 8 breakout sessions in the morning that are all happening at the same time from 11 to 12:30. And then we have a separate set of 8 breakout sessions in the afternoon. They are really not repeated. But I saw in the chat that somebody was asking about the recordings, and you will have access to the recordings of all of the breakout sessions after the panel, after the conference. So even if you're saying, oh man, I really wanted to go to 4 of the different sessions, you will have a chance to watch them. By the way, you also have a chance to move from session to session. You can click on the link in the in Whova and get you to one session. Maybe you stay for 10 or 15 minutes and decide, oh, I'd really like to be at this other session instead. And you are able to move in and out of these sessions whenever you want. I'm just going to go over these panels very, very quickly, or these sessions. The first session is called the Person-Centered Plan, a Roadmap to My Best Life. As all of you know, the PCP is the core. It is where the entire self-determination program is based. And you are going to hear from my mentor, one of the greatest experts on person-centered planning and self-determination in the country, Dr. Sally Burton-Hoyle. Sally is based in Michigan, but knows a lot about California's self-determination program. So you're going to hear from the best at our conference. Moving on to the next panel is looking at the individual budget, both the first time you're developing your budget and how your budget changes because of unmet need or change in circumstances, and moving on to your additional years in the program. We have a really amazing panel. By the way, this panel is going to be repeated. No, this panel is not repeated in the afternoon. Sorry, never mind. But we have a really great panel of independent facilitators, family members, and others, and regional center staff. The next breakout session is going to be incredible. If you don't go that day, I highly recommend you watch it afterwards. It's called our program, Our Stories, Self-Advocate Perspectives on the SDP. And it's going to be featuring all SDP participants in the program, some of whom use alternative methods to communicate using an iPad or a voice output to communicate. And it really will, and what they're doing, this is a very cool idea for this panel, is it's going to be like a pretend support group on the program. And it's going to show how people talk about their self-determination program, all the great opportunities people have, as well as the challenges that they're facing. The next panel is on employment. We know that employment is a very important thing for all SDP participants. And this is a special project that is actually being led by DVU and our partners called What Works for Us, Getting Employed Through the SDP. And you're going to hear stories from actual SDP participants who've been able to either start their own business or get jobs using the supports provided in the SDP. Our next panel is called Self-Determination in All Seasons, how the program can support people in life transitions. So we're talking about as children move from, different ages to different schools, whether it's from preschool to elementary school to middle school to high school, transition to adulthood is going to be a major piece that we're talking about in at this session. We have a number of folks who, Carolyn Talalian, who's moderating the panel, is actually an expert on transition to adulthood and works at the Valley Children's Hospital in Fresno as an expert on this. And then we'll also look at older adults and how, as you age, what are the kinds of supports that you can uniquely use in the self-determination program. Moving on is called Now What? A panel discussion on your first steps after SDP orientation. We hear this all the time. People go through what many consider to be a very confusing orientation. And now they're like, what do I do next? Well, you have some great experts who will help walk you through it. And it's actually being led by one of our staff, Miguel Lugo, who is actually in the process of moving into the self-determination program, who will be able to talk about his own experiences and struggles in getting into the SDP. Moving on, oh, and it also features, by the way, Christine Tolbert, who works at the State Council, who's in charge of delivering the orientations on practically a daily basis. This next session is specifically only in Spanish without English interpretation. And it is about the spending plan, making goals a reality. The spending plan is often a place where people get very confused in exactly how they should make it work. And we have a really great group of panelists, including an FMS, including independent facilitators and parents. So we hope you'll join us for that. And then this is a fun panel called Can They Really Do That? The Role of the Regional Center in the SDP. And this is really looking at some of the rules that different regional centers have. Sometimes their rules are not consistent because they haven't been given appropriate direction from the state of California, from DDS. And sometimes they're making up rules and they're not allowed to do that. And sometimes it's completely allowed and people are questioning their regional center, but the regional centers are allowed to do that. We have a great group of people, including Katie Hornberger from DDS. She is the ombudsperson for the self-determination program, the acting ombudsperson. We have a person who's the chair of the statewide advisory committee, Viviana Garcia Barnwell, as well as an SDP participant, and Vivian Hahn from Disability Rights California, who knows the law really well. And we have a regional center rep, who I guess is confirmed, and I did not realize that. So we have somebody from a regional center as well. Then we have a 30-minute break for lunch, more time for you to go visit exhibitors or to take a break from Zoom, which I would understand. And we move into our afternoon breakout sessions. There will be 8 as well, from 1 to 2:30 p.m. And this is the Spanish language version of the What Works for Us session on employment, led by the Integrated Community Collaborative, one of our wonderful partners. Then it's the English version of It's My Spending Plan, Making Goals a Reality, with a group of really great folks on this panel, independent facilitators who help people write their spending plans all the time. Then this is a great one for people who have yet to get into the program, Getting Unstuck, How to Handle Standstills and Common Roadblocks in the SDP. This session has also a whole bunch of great independent facilitators, but also has Sheila Keys from Redwood Coast Regional Center. Sheila was the head of the self-determination program there for over 20 years, because they were part of the pilot program, which started in 1997, and is a great expert on the self-determination program. Then the next panel is called The Only Required Service, Partnering with Your FMS. You should know we invited all 12 or 15 FMSs throughout the state to participate in this panel. If you do not see your FMS on this panel, you can call them up and say, why aren't you participating? Because we repeatedly sent them invitations. The ones who have agreed to come, first of all, it's moderated by the amazing Kelly Culzer-Reyes, who is an independent facilitator and works with DVU on training folks at various regional centers on the self-determination program. But represented at this event, on this panel, is Mainsail, FACT, Financial Management Services, Cambrian, Principal FMS Pay. Oh no, sorry, FMS Pay. That's what they're called. Kyle is the principal there, and Aviana, as well as Ritz FMS. So if you do not see your FMS there, it's not our fault. Christiana, I think, emailed them like 15 times and they never respond.
Judy, GT is going to be there. They just didn't know who was going to come yet. So they will have a speaker there.
Okay, GT will also be on that panel. They have a large amount of people, so it's important for them to be there. This is your chance for you to have lots of questions for the FMSs at this panel. All right, a place called home. This is going to be another great panel. How the SDP can help find and secure housing. A lot of people know that the regional centers cannot pay in the vast majority of cases for rent or for actual housing costs. But we have an amazing panel here of people who understand housing, some of whom you can hire through the SDP to help you with your housing, led by the wonderful Nina Spiegelman of our Director of Policy. And we have some cool folks like this guy named Garrett Ackerman from a group called Homies, which helps people with disabilities find roommates, whether they're roommates with disabilities or without disabilities, to be able to move out and afford to live on your own. We have the Quantum Housing Corporation, which are housing developers. We have an SDP participant who is just moved out on his own using the SDP, as well as IFs and a supported living provider. So it's a really great panel there. We are doing an SDP reality check, breaking down the myths and realities. People are like, is this true? Is this not true? We're going to really talk it through. We have Kavita Sridhar, who's an IF from Prognia, and a parent of an SDP participant, as well as SDP participants and a regional center staff member, Michelle Poster, who's also a parent of an SDP participant herself. And we have Cynthia Salomon Ponce, who's from the DDS ombudsperson office. So this is a great panel to get rid of all those things that are not true and to focus on the things that are actually real. Next, we have all eyes on the SDP. Can DDS and advisory committees do more? So this is being moderated by Rick Wood, who is the co-chair of the statewide advisory committee and the chair of Kern Regional Centers Advisory Committee. And we have representatives, Pierre Landry from the chair of Lanterman Regional Centers Advisory Committee, Carla Lehman, who's been the chair of Westside Regional Center, and the amazing Chris Miller, who's the chair of Redwood Coasts, as well as really importantly, Susie Reekwarth. And Susie is the head of the self-determination program at DDS, involved in all the implementation. And finally, Melinda Sullivan, the executive director of Frank Lanterman Regional Center. And our final breakout panel, I think that probably a lot of you want to go to like 20 of these, is called An Imperfect Storm, the Potential 2024 Independent Facilitator Crisis. We have talked about this at previous SDP Connects, but starting on January 1st, the rules are changing on how people can access facilitators to help them move into the program for the first time, as well as some additional rules around people who are currently in the program. And so we're gonna, Lulu Chong is going to be moderating this along with a group of independent facilitators, of course, Tim Jin on our staff, and Lori Walker, who's the chair of the North LA Regional Center Advisory Committee, who has grave concerns that it will be very hard for people to move in after January 1st. The final panel at the end of the day is from 2:35 to 4. I believe that there is no break between, there's only like a 5-minute break between the breakout sessions and the final panel. And it's called, If I Had a Magic Wand, I Could Fix the Self-Determination Program. This is going to be a super fun panel. We're going to be timing the respondents. They can talk for no more than 1 minute. And I'm moderating this panel. And I'm going to interrupt them. And I'm going to be presenting the panelists with a series of problems and questions in the self-determination program. Everything from the orientation is too confusing to why do FMSs charge such high employer burden rates, to everything is just taking too long, the regional center is not calling me back, to I don't even know how to hire staff, where do I start? And we will be throwing out these issues to this illustrious panel. And the panel includes Jason Berquist from Maincell, an FMS, Mitchie Gates, the executive director of Kern Regional Center, Elizabeth Gomez, the head of a Latino organization that works in the self-determination program a great deal, called the Integrated Community Collaborative, Tim Jin, our DVU's director of empowerment programs, Will Liner, senior staff at Disability Rights California, an expert on the SDP, Victor Lira, the president of Aviana Healthcare Support Services, Chris Miller, the chair, an SDP participant and the chair of Redwood Coast Regional Centers Advisory Committee, the wonderful Christiana Morales, whom you all know because she's sharing the screen with me right now, Susie Reekwarth from DDS, Rick Wood, the chair of the Statewide Self-Determination Advisory Committee, and finally, Allison Morantz, who is the parent of an SDP participant, a renowned labor lawyer at Stanford, labor law professor at Stanford Law School, and the director of the Stanford IDD Law and Policy Project. And then we end the day from 4 to 4:30 with a final round for people to be able to go hang out with exhibitors and sponsors. And Jordan said 60 seconds, it sounds like a lightning round. That's exactly what it's going to be like. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a beep and a horn when people go past the 60 seconds, and we're going to attempt to get as many of the issues out there. In addition, folks are going to be able to put in the chat any questions or issues you want to bring up at this final session too, and I'll be monitoring the chat as well and bring up some of your concerns. So that is the amazing program. I want to thank Christiana for taking the leadership on this in her first year of being at DVU. It's a lot, and I hope you will all join us.
That's so exciting. And like the last round, we were all joking that, you know, Judy's going to need some sort of like air horn or something to like, ah, your time is up, move on. So it should be
come up with
really
it.
fun. Exactly. I'm going to quickly, if you have already registered, and we talked about this earlier, and you're ready to go check in, am I logged in? I'm ready to go. I like to go a little early. So, you know, Friday morning, I'm not like, oh my gosh, how do I get in? I'm just kind of one of those people. So this is where you'll go. It's the link is in the chat. And so it will take you to this place to log in. Now, I've already logged in before, and I have downloaded this from Whova. So if you haven't, it will give you the info, how to put this on your computer. There is also an app for your phone if you would like, if you're going to be out and about and you want to watch from your phone. But I'm just going to show you from my computer. So this is where you would sign in. I'm going to put my name here so you can see. If you haven't signed in before, this is the first time, you're going to want to sign up and then you'll create your password. But I've already done that before, so we can go ahead and sign in. And I'll show you what it's going to look like on the day. This is what Whova looks like. And I know it can look a little confusing because there's all this stuff going on, but it's actually pretty simple. When you come in, you can just read it. Here's a little bit of information. We talked about that mobile app. If you want to download it to your phone, there's a link to do that. There's just a little conversation going on over here. The main part here is we've got two areas that you're going to want to know. So we were starting our day where you got to go visit the exhibitors. So that's where you would go right here, exhibitors and sponsors. And so if you click that, you will see here are all of our booths. They're virtual booths that you can go and virtually walk around. You can see all of them here. I'm going to show you. Here's a sample. We can go look at. Let's go visit Disability Voices United's booth today.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, Christiana, but I am, at least me, I'm not seeing your full screen. I'm only seeing portions of it. So I know you had enlarged things for me.
Is that better?
That's better. Thank you.
Perfect. Sorry about that. So on right in this section right here, on the day of, and somebody's inside the booth, you will see a Zoom meeting going on here, and you can talk and you can join the discussion. Right now, it's clearly not in there because we're not there today, but that's where you would see, you would be able to join the discussion in the room. If they have anything, they have handouts, you can get them here. You can chat with them in the chat over on the side. So that's what it's going to look like for your booth. So you can jump in and out of all the booths, go visit all of them and chit chat with them. So you want to go back, you can go back either to the exhibitor list if you want to go see another booth, or if it's getting time and you're going to want to go see something that's going on in the main room, we can go to agenda. And here you will see, here's the full agenda, and you can scroll down and see what's going on. So we can look at the welcome one. Now you can add things to your agenda, or as Judy said, you can jump back and forth and around. You don't have to just set your agenda. You can always look at the full agenda, and you can go from room to room. This is what the main room will look like on the day, and you will see again where it says check back soon, you will see the meeting going on. So that meeting will be going on right here. And you can see who's speaking. So it's pretty easy to navigate and get around once you get set. But I do recommend come in, click around, get used to it beforehand, make sure you know how to log in. So that's the easy way to get around. So you remember, go back to the agenda. Let's say, oh, I went to one meeting, one breakout. Now I want to go to another. Just click back on agenda and sessions, and then you'll see them all lined up, and you can just click to go to another one. So it's pretty easy to move around if you would like to. I'm going to stop sharing there. And the last thing we were going to do today was I just wanted to do a quick shout out to our exhibitors. You saw some of them in there. So now all of the people who are our sponsors also have booths, so you can visit them as well. But we also have some exhibitors. So we have Brain Balance is going to have a virtual booth there. California Independent Facilitators Association will be there. Disability Voices United will be there. Come visit our booth and see all the other things that we do beyond self-determination program. You can see what we're doing with Communication Access Connect and our Emerging Leaders programs. So pop in there and say hi, everybody. We always love to have visitors and talk to you. Exceptional Connections is going to be there. Integrated Community Collaborative, which is ICC. I had to think about it because we use the term ICC all the time. There are our sister organization, Modern Support Services, NeuroNav, and the Independent Facilitators training. So this is a training program if you were interested in becoming an independent facilitator. So if that's something you're thinking about, it's a great place to go pop into their breakout room. So I hope that helps everybody feel more comfortable. If you're already planning on attending, you know what to do and how to get around. As Monica said, if you're not sure if your registration went through, go to this link and try logging in. And if it says we can't find you, then reach out to Monica and she will be able to help you make sure that you get logged in. So I do recommend do it early. And with that said, we have just gone on and on about the conference, and I haven't had a chance to check the chat. So let me quick go through the chat and see if we missed any questions, or you can raise your hand if you have any questions about the conference. Hey, Jordan, go ahead and unmute.
Thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to lower my hand now, not a yellow hand. I just wanted to thank Judy, thank her for the work she's doing. And, it's probably, I have to speak slowly because interpreters, to thank her and to think that this probably, I know we're going to get a video or all the panels of after the thing ends, but I wish there was a video on the making of the DVU conference. Probably starts day after this one ends, or the end of last year, kind of like a Super Bowl. I mean, it's not, don't just push a button on our phones and music plays. There's a lot of work, and I would, probably months, 6 months, a year of work to put this together. So, it's, most people probably never heard of Hoover unless they've been to the conference. So she's using a lot of this technology. No AI yet, not this year. Maybe next year we'll do AI if we believe in that. But yeah, I just want to thank her, talk about the behind the scenes and all the hard work and all the people it takes to get this going. It takes a village. So thank you. And, maybe next year we'll get a behind the scenes video, how long and work it takes to put it together.
Thanks, Jordan. We appreciate the shout out, and it does take a lot of work, and the video might be R-rated because sometimes all the planning involves some cursing, but it's we're coming along great, and we're looking so forward to seeing everybody there. So thank you so much. You know what? The other group we didn't thank in our as we were thanking everybody is we have an amazing team of volunteers, and Jordan is one of them. So and they're going to help with the technical side of getting everybody into Zoom in all of these breakout rooms. So thank you all so much to our volunteers who are so graciously donating their time to help us out. So at this point, I'm checking the time. So we have a little bit of time. I can open the floor if anybody has any additional questions, just any type of question. You can put your question in the chat or you can raise your hand. So I'm still scrolling to see if I missed any questions in the chat here.
Feel free to ask any questions you may have just generally about the self-determination program. It doesn't have to be specifically on this conference.
Oh, we have a question from Lisa at 5:33, and she asked, do we have, which breakouts would you recommend for new IFs? That's a great question. And I think that there are a few. I would absolutely start with the person-centered plan with Sally Burton Hoyle, because if you haven't seen her do a person-centered plan or explain, you don't know what you're missing. She is amazing. She is literally the nationwide expert. So I would absolutely start there. I would go to the one that's talking about spending plans, because that would be very, very helpful for a new IF. But honestly, there's a lot of info in all of them that you're going to glean lots of information. I would also recommend pop in during the breaks to the different tables, because you can speak to other IFs, it's really important as an independent facilitator to get a community together and work with other people, and you share information. And so that it's a really great place. So do get out there and meet other independent facilitators, find others that work in your area. So network. And I think that's good. Valdemitra, how are you doing? Go ahead and unmute.
Okay, I'm unmuted finally. Okay. I know you've been really busy, so I just want to ask you a real quick question. One of the questions I wanted to ask, as a parent, right now I'm doing the IF work for my daughter, but I want to change to be an employee. But I want to know, how do you go about doing that? Do you just send information to your regional? I'm with the San Diego Regional Center. Do I just send an email telling her I want to be an employee versus being her IF?
So you would have to start, she would have to have an employee in the spending plan. So do you already have a line item for an employee?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So then what you would do is you go to your financial management service and let them know that you're interested in becoming an employee, and they will send you the paperwork, which is good for you to know too, because now you'll know anybody else you hire what paperwork they are going to need to fill out.
Right. Yeah. Because I'm the one that helps with the other one, so I know about the paperwork and all of that. Yeah. But I wanted to ask. I don't know how they come up with their dollar amount or the hours, because I just started doing this for my daughter. We had an independent facilitator for last year, so I just started doing this. So how do they come up with the hours, the amount of hours that you can work, and the dollar amount? Is that a state-based thing, or?
It is not state-based. So in the self-determination program, you set the rate and you set the hours, but it is limited by your budget, how much money you have to spend.
Right.
So you can adjust it. So for instance, in my son's, we have different rates for different people. So like we have some people who are just, overnight, they're not doing a lot of work, and they might have a different rate than somebody who is, doing something else. So most financial management services request that you have a different line item for different rate people. But other than that, you can have multiple people working at the same rate. So
that makes sense. Okay, that's what I needed to know. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
I have a question for you. So a parent cannot be a paid staff or independent facilitator for a minor, for anyone under 18.
No, she's adult.
Okay, perfect. Just wanted to clarify that for the broader audience, that you have to be an adult for the parent to be able to be paid.
You just made me think of something. Code 320, which is, I can't remember what it is, but Code 320, we have someone as a vendor, versus Code 331, they're an employee. That's so I'm saying, can the parent be a vendor? And
you don't need to be a vendor. The only time you would be one is if you had a business already that you.
I do.
Oh,
Yes,
so then you
yes.
could, if you wanted to, you could do it
Okay.
as a vendor business.
Okay, so on that line item you were just talking about?
So 320 could be an individual or an agency. So you could still
Okay.
be under 320.
Okay, but what about 331?
331, that's goods and services. So that's something really different.
Okay,
So for what you're doing for like supports, that would be under 320.
okay, all right, thank
And I
you.
know we're killing Judy right now because she hates when we talk service code.
Yeah, stop talking about, seriously,
number.
stop talking about service codes.
Okay,
It's not our job.
okay,
You figure out what it is based on the person-centered plan the individual needs and who is going to support them to meet those goals.
okay,
But the key thing here is in the state of California, if you're providing services that are clearly employee type services, it's not an easy thing to say, I'm just a business and I'm going to be an independent contractor. There's actual very specific rules around who can be a staff and who can be an independent contractor. So you want to make sure some of the FMSs are a little bit touchy on those kinds of things. So you
okay.
want to make sure you're going to follow the state labor laws around that.
So do I need to go to the FMS and talk to them about it, or do I do the, okay, yeah, because pretty much I started doing everything that the independent facilitator was supposed to be doing that wasn't doing it. So I was doing everything. So that's why I got rid of the independent facilitator. But I'm doing a lot more than even just that. So I was trying to find out, where do I go? Where do I fit?
Yeah.
So an independent facilitator can more easily be called a consultant because they can work when they want. There's no set hours. They're just like, oh, maybe you're helping the person find staff, or, you know, so that can be a consultant. But if you're actually providing support, daily support services for your child, meaning driving them to appointments.
I'm doing all of that. That's what I'm saying. I'm doing everything you just mentioned for both sides. So
the actual support staff work is likely to be required to be an employee as opposed to a consultant. So I just wanted to get you prepped that you may hear that depending on who your FMS is.
okay, GT. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
They
All
will
right.
definitely.
Thank you. That gave me some direction. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
So there was a question from Elena Tiffany at 5:37. How to volunteer for the conference? Is it too late? Oh, Elena, we would have loved to have you, but we already do have our volunteers all set and they've already gone through training, but definitely reach out to us next year. We would love to have you volunteer with us. Anne Chen at 5:38 said, my brother does not have a service coordinator for 2 months since the service coordinator retired. We are in the process of self-determination program. Please give me good advice. The supervisor did not reply to my email for 2 months for RCEB also. It was very disappointed. And I would keep going up the food chain. If their supervisor did not respond to you, then go to the manager. And if the manager doesn't respond to you, go to the director and you know, keep making a squawk. If you cannot get anybody to, then you can think about filing a 4731, which is a complaint. That usually gets their attention pretty darn quickly. If they are required to have, you have to have a service coordinator. They need to provide one to you. So keep up with the squawking and making noise and work your way up the food chain.
And if I could just add something here, you should go to your regional center's board meeting, and you should complain during public comment to the board of directors, so that they understand that people are not getting served, because many times the board members are, you know, they're only hearing the stories from staff and think that everything's going perfectly well. Many regional centers, not all, have a policy that any communication, whether it's a phone call or an email, must be answered within 2 business days. And that should be the standard. And so the excuse cannot be that you don't have a service coordinator. So you should know that regional centers got hundreds of millions of dollars of new funding for hiring 900 new service coordinators over this past year, and they're probably going to get more next year too. So I would, Anne, I know who you are, and I know people at your regional center and would be happy to help you move forward, because that is pretty outrageous.
Teresa, I was just going to read your question in the chat, but since your hand is raised, I'm going to let you unmute.
Folks should pick a language, because Teresa will be speaking Spanish. So English speakers should make sure you pick English as your language.
¿Qué se puede hacer con los centros regionales como Westside, donde niegan el aumento de salario que han tenido las FMS desde el año pasado y siguen diciendo que no ha habido aumento, que no existe tal aumento? ¿Qué podemos hacer con ellos porque no quieren ajustar el rate?
Oh, increase the rate for the financial management service?
No. So I know exactly what you're talking about, Teresa.
Disculpa, es por el rate que se les paga sobre todos los servicios.
Right. So let me explain, because I know this is happening, Teresa, and we're going to bring it up at the conference. So 2 years ago, the legislature and the governor passed what they called rate reform, which is raising the rates in the traditional system because service providers said they were not getting enough funding. And those rates should be automatically put into people's budgets in the self-determination program. But some regional centers are not doing it automatically, and some regional centers are actually refusing to do it when you point it out, and that's just wrong. I would highly recommend that you reach out to the SDP Ombudsperson's office, ask them to participate in a meeting with you and your regional center, and say that you have requested more than one time to increase your child's budget to include the increased rates. I do have to say, Teresa, that I have a child at the same regional center as you. And when I requested rates to be increased, they did it immediately. So there is obviously something not good going on with you, and we have to fix that.
Thank you so much. There was a comment about Valdemitra's question, which I thought was a good one to emphasize, that she cannot be a paid IF and an employee. You have to be one or the other. And so we did want to make sure that that was clear. Thank you, Jan Opsig, reminded us, because sometimes we forget what we didn't say, right? So thank you for bringing that up. That was a very good point. Lourdes, would you like to unmute?
So again, the governor allowed for a change and modification. So now people are supposed to get, instead of 24 hours of sick time, they're now entitled to get 40 hours beginning of next year. So my question is, where is that 16 hours, like the jump of hours? Where is that money coming from? Are we to expect that, FMS, my employee burden is going to go up because of those hours? We need to be proactive more than just reacting to, okay, what am I forced to drop at the end? Can we have that like it's a thing that you guys could discuss in your conference?
It's a great idea to do that. I'm gonna make sure that we bring that up You know, the service providers in the traditional system are already raising Cain about this and are saying to their regional centers, we have new burdens, you know, minimum wage is going up in certain counties as well. And their rates need to be increased based on what their additional burdens are, whether it's additional sick leave or additional basically hourly wages. So I will make sure we're bringing it up. We do need to be proactive. It is on my radar, among other things, to bring up at the statewide advisory committee that DDS will be convening, I believe, next week, the day before our event, our conference.
So Tina had a question at 5:36. If the franchise tax board steals from you, what do you do?
I do not understand what happened here. So I don't know, Tina, if you're able to speak, because this is a new one on me, and happy to refer you to folks who know way more about this than I do. Kira's got their hand up, so go ahead, Kira.
There's a bit of additional information from Tina. It is in the chat document, Christiana, but I can go ahead and read it out. After it says, if the franchise tax board steals from you, what do you do? She adds, they say I have a caregiving business making over $20K per year. So they took $700 from my bank account, but I don't have a caregiving business. I have caregivers for me.
I have no idea how this happened, because it's the FMS that has the caregiving. The FMS is the one. Are you a sole employer or a co-employer model, Tina? Sole employer. We are sole employer as well. I believe, Christiana, you are as well. I have not heard about this at all. Tina, get in touch with me. I'm going to help you figure this out. Okay. Sounds like a big, giant mistake.
It does. Melissa, you have your hand up.
Quick question about mileage. One of my parents gets reimbursed for mileage. It's on their spending plan. But I thought that it was just direct, like nothing is taken out of it. So if you get 65.5 cents a mile for mileage, you should just get that exact amount. But the FMS is taking money out of it like it was income.
Oh, yes, that doesn't sound correct. That's typically why it's in two different service codes, and that you don't want to mix your mileage with your employees, because you don't want them to be taxing, your mileage piece. I think that would be a good ombudsperson.
Okay.
Get them involved, because that
Okay.
does not sound correct.
Yeah, the FYI, the family's with Aviana, and she reached out to her accountant thinking that they would know, but still didn't get what I felt was the right answer. So I'll have her reach out to the ombudsperson.
Okay.
I see Sally just put that the FMS, her at GT, is charging 1% for mileage, just like they're charging 1% for freaking a lot of things.
Right.
This is going to happen. This is going to come up at our conference over and over and over again. I've said this before at our previous meetings, that I calculated out based on the new employer burden rates that my regional center will need to add $20,000 additional monies to my son's budget all of which will go to the FMS, all 20,000. And that seems like a pretty high administrative rate. And so, my son's going to run out of money before the end of the year. So it's like, this is a problem that is going to affect a lot of people next spring, and many months, every month up until that point. But since those new rates went into effect in July, it'll be in the spring when people are going to start running out of money. So
Now, Sequoia, the new FMS in Orange County, they are also doing the 1%, but she will admit that it has not been officially approved by DDS.
it has not been.
I know.
Which then makes me concerned. What happened? Are they going to reimburse everybody?
Yeah, exactly.
Which, I mean, it's going to be a mess.
Yeah.
It's going to be a mess. And so.
And what will happen is that people will run out of money before the end of the year, their end of their year, and they will not have enough money to pay their staff. And then people will have no staff, because I don't know any staff that will work for free. And then people's lives will be on the line. This is, I've said this to DDS repeatedly. This is a matter of life and death. This is not a matter of, we'll deal with it when the time comes. We have to be proactive. I think there's nothing more important right now than dealing with this issue. And every one of you, I know there's 83 people left. Every single one of you should be calling the ombudsperson office and complaining about these employer burden rates. All of you, because they actually look at the number of calls they get and they report on them. And so if they're getting hundreds of calls about the same issue, they're going to say to DDS, remember, they're the ombudsperson office, but they make recommendations. And they're going to say to DDS, you have to deal with this, or there is going to be a crisis. And the blood will be on your hands, DDS, not on the FMSs. The FMSs are going to do whatever they can do to make more money. They're businesses. Somebody wants us to put the ombudsperson contact information. We will.
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay, great. And we are at 2 minutes out. So do you want to wrap up? I know, Mari, do you have a very quick question, Mari? Mari, I'm asking you to unmute. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes. Hi, Mari.
Thank you. Yes. Hi, Yuri. I have a question. So I haven't heard anything about that. Regional center clients who wants to, they're already adults, but they don't want to necessarily go to work, but they want to open their own business. Is going to be anything about that, or what is DDS saying about it, and how we're going to support those youngsters like my son who just turned 18 and wants to make his own business. So what is the information you gave us about that?
Oh, we're gonna have it at the conference. We have a session in Spanish and a session in English, and then come early next year, we're gonna have a whole series of sessions here at SDP Connect on this subject. So stay tuned.
So we have 1 minute left. Beldamitra, do you have a quick question? And we'll have you can be the last one.
Just wanted to ask Judy. So she said that she talked to her regional her coordinator and told him that she's going to need $20,000, whatever. Would they, if they were to give that to you, I'm not saying they would, will they have to modify the budget for this year?
Yep.
So they can do that. They can modify this year's budget with that. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
The second I saw the new rates, the new employer burden rates come out, I did a quick calculation the same day. And that was like in May that I sent an email to my regional center saying I'm going to need more money added to his budget. And they said, oh, we're waiting for guidance from DDS on this. So it's a problem. It's a problem.
So I will say
Okay.
West Side is much more cooperative about this than some of the other regional centers who said, you better just fix your spending plan now, which is horrible and scary. So, you know, check in with your regional centers and where they're at on this, because some of them are less cooperative than that. So we did put in again in the chat, we hope everybody will come to the conference. We're looking forward to seeing everyone, and you guys always bring us such great information. I think we learn more from you all than you learn from us in many of these meetings. So everyone have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you next time.
We'll see you at the conference. Bye, everybody.